BKPM claims negotiation with Tesla is still ongoing. To get additional third-party funds this year, BTN is pursuing more middle-upper class customers. Good afternoon, viewers in Indonesia and Singapore. Market Headlines ready to provide a number of informations from the business, economic, and capital market sectors. With me, Wicky Adrian. This is Market Headlines. Head of the Investment Coordinating Board, or BKPM, spoke up about Tesla's investment in Indonesia. Bahlil Lahadalia emphasized that until now, negotiations with Tesla are still ongoing, so it is not true that Tesla is said to have cancelled investing in Indonesia.
Head of the Investment Coordinating Board, or BKPM, spoke up about Tesla's investment in Indonesia. Bahlil Lahadalia said that from the beginning, the lobby with the electric car manufacturer Tesla was carried out by the Coordinating Ministry for Maritime Affairs and Investment. He emphasized that until now, negotiations with Tesla are still ongoing. Therefore, he considered it not feasible if Tesla was called to leave or cancel investing in Indonesia.
Itu komunikasi awalnya dilakukan oleh Kementerian Marinvest. Kami di belakangnya. Nah, untuk itu saya akan coba untuk komunikasi dengan Pak Menko, informasinya sejauh apa terakhir. Nggak ada yang hengkang. Kalau hengkang itu kan udah tiba baru pergi. Ini masih berproses. Jadi kalau orang dalam bernegosiasi bisnis, deal-dealan itu biasalah pasang surut itu.
Previously, Tesla was reportedly increasingly positive in choosing India as its second production base in Asia. Yet at the same time, Indonesia is also making an approach. Elon Musk's company is reportedly nearing the final stage of reaching an agreement to produce electric cars in India. If consensus is reached, Tesla will have 3 production bases in the United States, China, and India. From Jakarta, IDX Channel coverage team reported.
In order to maximize economic recovery this year, the Ministry of Finance will reallocate some budgets in 2021. Reallocations will be maximized on priority programs, including health and small medium enterprises assistance. There is strong possibility that the 2021 economic recovery budget will increase to 699.43 trillion this year. The number will go up 21% from the 2020 professional realization of 579.78 trillion. The Director General of Budget and Finance of Finance Ministry, Askolani, explained especially that larger budget will be supported through the reallocation of ministries' expenditure. For example, health sector that needs an additional 130 trillion, also around 14 million small businesses will be given the assistance, whereas the additional budget comes from central government's expenditure.
Kemudian untuk pelaku usaha mikro, rencananya akan ditargetkan sekitar 14 juta UMKM yang akan mendapatkan bantuan sebesar 1,2 juta yang akan dimaksimalkan bisa dilaksanakan di bulan Maret ini. Tentunya kalau ini bisa dijalankan akan bisa mendukung pertumbuhan ekonomi kita di Q1 ini bisa lebih maksimal untuk menjadi pijakan dalam triwulan-triwulan berikutnya.
Bulog, or the Indonesian Bureau of Logistics, expect that people should not worry as rice stock is guaranteed sufficient, even though flocking natural disaster is occurring in Indonesia. Bulog also stated that it will distribute rice to natural disaster victims.
Although many agricultural land in several regions in Indonesia have been flooded and affected by other natural disasters, Indonesian Bureau of Logistics, or Bulog, guarantees safe rice stock. Director of Supply Chain and Public Services of Bulog, Muhammad Suyamto, quoted from the Ministry of Agriculture's data, about 32,000 hectares were affected by natural disasters from January to February 2021. It means that around 100,000 tons of rice failed to harvest. However, crop failure can be overcome. Replanting rice can be way out because some rice that has been flooded and affected by natural disasters is rice that has just been planted for 1 month. Therefore, it is possible to conduct replanting. Suyanto added that Bulog is also committed to distribute aid in the form of rice to people affected by natural disasters. The amount of rice given depends on demand on the provincial and city social services, while Bulog provides 100 tons per year for city and district scale and 200 tons per year for provincial scale. From Jakarta, Muhammad Olga for IDX Channel.
Good news comes from oil and gas exploration activities in Indonesia. Special Working Unit on Upstream Oil and Gas Activities announced the discovery of new oil reserves in North Madura.
Petronas Karigali North Madura 2 Ltd has discovered new oil reserves in North Madura. This drilling activity began on January 7, 2021, has now succeeded in discovering oil reserves. In this drilling activity, the overall depth of the oil reserves well is 2,739 meters. From this explorations process, hydrocarbons in the form of oil were found with an initial flow rate of 2,100 barrels for oil per day. For now, Petronas Karigali is still doing final analysis to determine the amount of resources. This is a very encouraging finding after most of the findings are gas. From Jakarta, Muhammad Olga, IDX Channel.
Market headlines will be right back after the break. Stay tuned.
Saya Prisa Samodatu membawakan program berita News Screen yang menghadirkan informasi seputar ekonomi maupun juga bisnis dari dalam negeri.
Ya, Otoritas Jasa Keuangan telah resmi menerbitkan belit yang mengatur modal inti minimum bank. Dengan penerbitan aturan ini,
bank ini heavily regulated, Mas. Jadi bank itu nggak bisa pindah tangan begitu saja, harus approval oleh OJK. Jadi
Menteri Keuangan Sri Mulyani Indrawati mengatakan bahwa industri keuangan syariah tumbuh mengesankan.
Di masa pandemi ini kita masih bisa bertahan dan bahkan menunjukkan kinerja yang sangat baik.
Ya halo pemirsa, nama saya Mangivera Tjong. Saat ini saya menjabat sebagai presenter dan juga associate producer. Saat ini saya membawakan program IDX Conversation Closing, di mana di program tersebut saya menganalisa isu-isu ekonomi yang menarik, baik dari luar negeri maupun juga dari dalam negeri. Tentunya hingga saat ini saya masih terus belajar dan saya sangat menikmati profesi tersebut.
Welcome back. Finance Minister Sri Mulyani Indrawati projected economic growth to be at the level of 5.0% or in the range of 4.5% to 5.3%.
Through State Budget Press Conference February 2021 edition, Sri Mulyani stated that economic growth will be at the level of 5% or in the range of 4.5% to 5.3%. This can be seen from domestic economic recovery, as Sri Mulyani stated that it has begun to appear. One of them is the electricity consumption, which grew by 6.2% year-on-year in January 2021. It is hoped that the COVID-19 vaccination will be a starting point from the economic recovery. However, vaccines are not the only solution. Even though the COVID-19 vaccination program has been implemented, the public should continue implementing health protocols. From all sources, IDX Channel.
Through State Budget Press Conference February 2021 edition, Sri Mulyani stated that economic growth will be in the range of 4.5% to 5.3%. Very optimistic, right? The growth is possible to reach as vaccination has begun smoothly nowadays. It is hugely encouraging to see so many vaccines proving successful and going into development. Indeed, vaccines are a critical new tool in the battle against COVID-19, both in health and economic sector. At least 7 different vaccines across 3 platforms have been rolled out in countries. Let's see how the global vaccination goes so far through the first graphic. This is global COVID-19 vaccination facts. As much as 205 million doses vaccines have been disbursed, 6.4 million doses is given daily, and 92 countries had done or has done vaccination. And working as quickly as they can, scientists from across the world are collaborating and innovating to bring us tests, treatments, and vaccines that will collectively save lives and end this pandemic. And the pandemic will lead the economic recovery. Well, at least that is the best scenario. But end of pandemic is not easy. How the world and Indonesia deal with the pandemic will be the key to economic recovery in 2021. In this case, vaccines distribution is very important. Vaccinations have so far overwhelmingly favored high-income countries, with analysis finding that of the 80 million vaccines distributed to that point, only 55 had been given out in low-income countries, such as Guinea, where they were given to public officials in December on an experimental basis. And let's see what are leading countries in total vaccine doses administered through the next graphic. These are the list of leading countries in COVID-19 vaccination. United States had given to its people as much as 63.09 million doses. China, 40.5 million doses. European Union, 26.5 million doses. UK, 18.2 million doses. India, 11.09 million doses. And Israel, 7.13 million doses. While COVID-19 vaccination in Indonesia ranked 18th in the world, Indonesia's position is quite lucky, I suppose. Finance Minister Sri Mulyani Indrawati revealed that Indonesia was one of the countries that had the fastest to roll out the vaccination. This earlier start made Indonesia relatively more advanced in vaccination. The number of vaccines that have been injected as of February 22nd, as much as 1.96 million doses. This amount is equivalent to 0.76 times of the total cumulative cases of COVID-19, which reached 1.29 million people if 2 doses of vaccine are needed for 1 person. And let's see how far COVID-19 vaccination has gone so far through the next graphic. In Indonesia, of course. COVID-19 vaccination in Indonesia, 1.96 million doses of vaccines had been used as of February 22nd, 2020. 181 million people are targeted to be vaccinated before March 2022. 70% of population must be vaccinated to reach herd immunity. And 1.49 million medical personnel are targeted to be vaccinated. As priority vaccines will be given to health workers, healthcare assistants, support workers in health facilities, members of the Indonesian military and police, law enforcement, and other public service offices. The government also expects that at least 70% of Indonesia's population, or about 182 million people, will get vaccines. According to the president, the free COVID-19 vaccination program is key to this year's economic recovery. As we know that the pandemic has been raging for nearly a year, it has damaged global economy, affecting both developed and developing countries. And when it comes to Indonesia, for 2020 as a whole, GDP fell 2.04% for a full year, or a year earlier, this first full year contraction since 1998 Asian financial crisis. That was slightly larger than the 2% contraction in the Reuters polling, and roughly in the middle of the government's forecast range for a 1.7 to 2.2% fall. However, the country's economic contraction was much slower than in other countries. As comparison, let's take a look on the economic growth of ASEAN countries back then in 2020. This is economic growth of ASEAN countries in 2020. Philippines recorded as a country with the largest correction as in economic growth, as much as minus 9.5%, Thailand minus 6.1%, Malaysia minus 5.6%, Singapore minus 5.4%, Indonesia minus 2.7%, and Vietnam as the only country that recorded a positive growth in economic growth, as much as 2.9%. The pandemic causes reduced mobility and affects incomes and weak demand. Pandemic hit from the supply and demand side. Vietnam is likely the top performing ASEAN economy in 2020. The country has no single quarter of economic contraction. Vietnam was quick to develop testing kits and used a combination of strategic testing, aggressive contact tracing to help control numbers. And if Vietnam can do it, I believe Indonesia can do it also, right? Moreover, vaccination is now ongoing. It is hoped that the COVID-19 vaccination will be the starting point for economic recovery. However, vaccines are not the only solution. Even though the COVID-19 vaccination program has been implemented, the public should continue implementing health protocols. And how the world and Indonesia deal with the pandemic will be the key to economic recovery in 2021. Vaccines are the key weapon against COVID-19. And vaccination alone is not enough. Compliance with strict health protocols is a must. Keeping a distance from others, washing your hands, and wearing face masks is still necessary despite the vaccination drive as a prerequisite for economic recovery. Stay tuned on Market Headlines because we'll be right back after the break.
Bagaimana tanggapan dari pengusaha dengan angka ini?
Tentu membuat kita harus lebih berhati-hati.
Langkah apa yang tepat?
Jadi kita harus bisa menunjukkan kepada masyarakat bahwa vaksinasi itu penting.
Kementerian Pariwisata dan Ekonomi Kreatif telah menyiapkan 3 program yang menjadi langkah awal untuk membangkitkan pariwisata di tahun 2021.
Pemerintah menegaskan bahwa di awal tahun 2021 ini tetap fokus pada aspek kesehatan masyarakat.
Kita melihat bahwa tren positif itu terjadi karena pertumbuhan kuartal ke kuartal itu sudah di 5,05%.
Pemerintah memastikan akan mengubah bantuan sosial di wilayah Jabodetabek dari skema bantuan sembako menjadi bantuan langsung tunai.
For our last segment at the Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement earlier today, JCI was open at the level 6,265.67. Then approaching the closing time on the first session, the index was on the level of 6,257.28. Then the index was showing weakening trend by the second session closing time. Index was closed at the level of 6,251.05. In short, JCI went down 0.35%. And next, we're going to see the sectoral movement leading the dynamics of today's trading. We got agriculture as the leader of the strengthening trend that went up 1.35%. Finance went up 0.46%. Meanwhile, basic industry went down 2.22%, and mining went down 1.65%. And moving on to top gainers and top losers. Here are the key highlights from today's trading session. TLKM went up 0.29% to the level of 3,480 rupiah per share. Agro went up 2.3% to the level of 1,415 rupiah per share. BBTN went up 5% to the level of 2,100 rupiah per share. BANK went up 21.43% to the level of 1,785 rupiah per share. Meantime, the top losers, we got trading. ANTM went down 1.02% to the level of 2,910 rupiah per share. BBCA went down 1.47% to the level of 33,625 rupiah per share. BBRI went down 1.25% to the level of 4,730 rupiah per share. And Astra International went down 1.75% to the level of 5,625 rupiah per share. And this is the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar. Open at the level of 14,089 rupiah was also showing strengthening trend towards US dollar. It was closed at the level of 14,001. In summary, rupiah went up 0.52%. The management of Bank Tabungan Negara, or BBTN, said it would focus on targeting middle to upper class customers. The company's focus is to achieve the target of additional third-party funds of 3 trillion rupiah in 2021.
The management of Bank Tabungan Negara, or BTN, said it would focus on targeting middle to upper class economic class customers, as well as young entrepreneurs and professionals. The company's focus is to achieve the target of additional third-party funds of 3 trillion rupiah in 2021. The statement was conveyed by the acting director of BTN, Nixon Napitupulu. He said that the company would be more aggressive in returning the essence of Bank BTN as a savings bank. One of the efforts made was to present the BTN Investa Savings product. Nixon explained that BTN Investa Savings is targeting prospective customers from the middle to upper class. He added that the conditions of the COVID-19 pandemic had opened many views in the community regarding investment for the future, so that various investment and savings instruments were being of interest to the upper middle class. As is known, as of the end of December 2020, the amount of third-party funds collected by BBTN reached 279.14 trillion rupiah, or grew by 23.84% year-on-year. From Jakarta, IDX Channel's coverage team reported.
Digital Media Tama Maxima, DMMX, has formed a partnership with Rans Entertainment to build a digital social media marketing platform. The two businesses units also agreed to establish a joint venture which will manage the platform.
Digital Media Tama Maxima DMMX has formed a partnership with Rans Entertainment to build a digital social media marketing platform. The two business units also agreed to establish a joint venture which will manage the platform. Budiasto Kusuma, President Director of Digital Media Tama Maxima, explained that with this partnership with Rans Entertainment, content creators and influencers, the company strives to continue to expand digital marketing and advertising capabilities into the scope of social media. As is well known, Rans Entertainment is a talent agency that manages more than 300,000 content creators and social media influencers in Indonesia. Meanwhile, Raffi Ahmad, CEO of Rans Entertainment, welcomed the collaboration with DMMX management. According to him, the synergy in building the shared platform can later bring content to a wider audience base. He hopes that this platform will bring his talents closer to their fan base with new ideas and products. IDX Channel's coverage team reported.
In order to minimize the possibility of stock pump activity, the Indonesia Stock Exchange ensures that educational programs with social media influencers will continue, one of which is through the Influencer Incubator program.
The Indonesia Stock Exchange stated that influencers or social media activists have been collaborating with the capital market education program since 2019. The Indonesian Stock Exchange did not close its eyes. The presence of these influencers had a positive impact on the domestic capital market industry. However, the exchange also reminds social media activists to be able to find out the benefit and risk of various investment products in the capital market, so that their followers do not feel disadvantaged by the information presented. The Indonesia Stock Exchange Company Development Director Hasan Fauzi revealed in the Influencer Incubator program, influencers will be classified based on the number of followers, namely nano, micro, and mega categories. Hasan added that several names of influencers in Indonesia were collaborated by IDX, such as Giring Ganesha, vocalist of Niji Band, Piu, guitarist of Padi Band, and Adrian Maulana. From Jakarta, Gilang Praditya for IDX Channel.
Step aside from market condition as coronavirus pandemic takes a big role on current economic situation. And here is an update data about coronavirus globally. And the news close our market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, your trustworthy economic, business, and capital market channel. I'm Wicky Adrian. Have a nice evening and stay safe.